week's Between the Pylons. Thank you so much for watching. I'm John Camacho. This is
Jacob Waters.
First YouTube video on Between the Pylons. For those of you who don't know, this is my partner on YouTube, or on the podcast, which is what I'm always talking about on here.
I'm the voice without a face.
Obviously, check that out. But we're getting on YouTube, and we're going to be talking. What do we want to call this series? We didn't really workshop that.
Gosh, yeah, no.
Just off the top of our head, anything? It'll be. You clicked on it. You know it's
called. Yeah, exactly. I'm already here.
So we're doing an overview. We're going to talk about We're going to talk about the Saints right now. We're going to talk about everything they should do. Let's start with how their season went, right? So pretty good season if you're, for most teams, 13-3, got to the playoffs, played really well. Obviously lost in the wild card round in the playoffs.
To my Vikings.
To the Vikings. That was awesome, right? So it was obviously unfortunate for them. It seems like, though, disappointment in the playoffs is becoming a trend for the Saints team. And you have to wonder, going into this 2021 season and the offseason, what's the plan going to be? Because do you try and reload and take one more shot for the Super Bowl, or do you kind of retool and accept the fact that maybe you missed your window and you have to kind of address it a different way?
I'm kind of glad that we're starting here because I think the Saints have so many different ways that they can go.
They really can, absolutely.
With having three quarterbacks, if we're counting Taysom Hill as whatever you want to call him, quarterback is what he wants to be.
Yeah.
They have so many different options. I'll go ahead and say it, though. I think the window's over.
Dude.
I really do. I think with them trying to retool up these past few off seasons and the way that we saw that disappointing loss to the Vikings in the wild card, I still don't think...
Say it again. I know you like that.
Oh, I love it. It was disappointing for them.
Yeah, for them.
Because we came in and whooped their ass. We beat them up a little bit.
I just wanted to give you some love. I got you.
I like that. So I don't think it's going to happen anymore. Do you?
No, I don't know, man. I think the Saints should probably move on from Drew Brees and should probably maybe try and get the Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater experiment going. I think what would be really cool if they paid Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill and have maybe that dual quarterback setup.
Well, how many games did they win whenever Brees was out? They won
every game.
They won every game.
The first game they lost, they lost one game with Drew Brees, the game that he got hurt, and then they lost the next game that Drew Brees got back in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they went 13-3. They had a great season, but
they didn't win those games. They weren't pretty. There was one that was 16-13. There was
they got on a roll with Teddy Bridgewater.
It's a different style of play. But we saw Drew Brees in the playoffs kind of fizzle out. He was not the star of that game.
Taysom Hill has a deeper ball, and when it came to trying to throw the deep ball, it was Taysom Hill trying to get it deep. It was they actually put Taysom Hill in a couple times just to play quarterback, and it was because Drew Brees, he doesn't have that deep arm. Yes, he's incredibly accurate, within 20 yards, and that's not going to go away. But you'd like to have a quarterback that makes you defend the entire field,
Well, exactly. We were able to tell that when Taysom came in at quarterback, it's a deep shot coming, and he hit a few of them every now and then. But he's the only one who did well for them in that playoff game.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. As far as that 2019 season, at the end of the day, it is a disappointment. It is what it is. Their biggest weaknesses for that team for that 2019 season, probably D-line. They probably needed help on the D-line. Marcus Davenport and Sheldon Rankins got hurt into their season. That kind of hurt. Alvin Kamara kind of had a little bit of a slump. I don't know really what happened, but
it was the way they were using him is the problem that I had. I really didn't think it was his own fault.
Would you agree they probably need to address the wide receiver or the running back too at some point in the draft? Because I don't think
Kamara is not a 3-down back.
I think he can be, but I don't think you want him to be. I don't think they've never really used him that way. They've always tried to give him maybe 20 touches a game. That's about what they've tried to give him.
It's the way that they use him. I think if they were to use him more like a McCaffrey type out of the backfield, get him in some swings, get him in maybe an inside zone every now and then.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think maybe a running back too is something to keep in mind. As far as strengths, obviously Michael Thomas was awesome. They need help. Setting 149 receptions. They need a wide receiver behind him because they don't really have anybody. They've had a couple guys come in. Ted Ginn, obviously, he's been there for a while, but he's really old. They've had guys that are young that just really haven't been able to make that next step. So we'd really like to get them a wide receiver too.
They'll be getting one in this deep class.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to work out. So going into free agency, we know that their biggest needs, the biggest question mark obviously is quarterback, but beyond that, they probably should address wide receiver, cornerback, and defensive line. You'd agree with that?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest cap casualties that we're going to have, they only have $9.3 million in cap space, right?
Sixth worst in the league.
Sixth worst in the league. Yeah. The biggest cap casualties that I think we're going to have, Janoris Jenkins, who they got from the Jets.
He would be cut.
He should be cut. That should save $11.25 million, right? Patrick Robinson should save $3.65 million. That's an easy cut.
That leaves them with 20 or so that they're able to get a guy.
And even with saving that money, we have to assume most of that money is probably going to have to go to a quarterback, right?
It has to.
Yeah, and I think we both agree maybe pay one of the quarterbacks that was at least on your roster in 2019. Yeah. So what would you do? I think we have differing opinions. Give yours first.
So mine is letting Taysom, the Swiss Army knife, walk. I think he wants too much. He said earlier today that he wants to be a true franchise quarterback. I think at 28, 29, it's just a little too old, too late for that. I don't know why he doesn't love his role with the Saints.
Like I said, the Swiss Army knife is a really cool role.
It's perfect. He comes in, the fans love him. I can't see him going somewhere else and being anything more than what he is now. Let Teddy walk. I think he's going to want too much money. He's ready to take his career.
He's going to want that 25 to 20.
Exactly. So with that being said, keep Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think if you're able to keep the window open, like I said, I think it's close. But if you're the Saints management trying to keep it open, it is with Drew Brees. Sean Payton is smart enough to be able to keep his team and his offense with Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. I think that there's a chance that the Saints may draft the future. And this is weird. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Jordan Love.
You think Jordan Love's the guy?
There's a chance that they may trade up and snag their guy.
I think that's a great.
Watch it be their guy.
I think that's a great pick because they wanted Patrick Mahomes and they weren't able to get him. And Jordan Love, I don't think he's going to be Patrick Mahomes. That's not who I see when I watch him. But
you can't say another.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But he does have some of the traits that you like. The big arm, the gunslinger mentality. And I think I really like that.
A lot of his knocks on him are stuff that can be fixed by a coach like Sean Payton.
I absolutely agree. So I'm gonna steal that. I don't hate that idea. I know when we get to the draft portion of this, we didn't do that just because we didn't do trades.
Yeah.
But I don't hate that idea. I think that is a good one. As far as what I would do free agency wise, I would pay Teddy Bridgewater Taysom Hill.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
I think if you can get Teddy Bridgewater at a discount, and I understand that's asking a lot. But it really just
what do you
depends.
mean by discount though? Like
I think if there's a team out there that's going to offer him 22, maybe he takes the 20 from the Saints or 18.
So that close. He's
yeah. So I think it's one of those things where if you get, and I mean per year,
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So I think he probably would take the discount to work with Sean Payton and be in that franchise. I think that's the best place for any quarterback to be. He didn't take the opportunity to start for the Dolphins last year and instead was the backup for the Saints. Not saying that was a bad deal. I'm just saying we've at least seen him make decisions that maybe were better for his career than for the final,
just to go ahead and
the
get
bottom line. Yeah, exactly. So if you ask me, he should stay with the Saints. I think the Saints have to keep Taysom Hill. There's so much that they can do with Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill has to know that he hasn't proven himself as a quarterback yet. He's proven himself as a Swiss Army knife. They can play tight end, wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner.
He can block he can do everything.
Yeah, like he's proven himself in that way, but he hasn't proven himself as just a true quarterback. So I don't know that he can really ask for that quarterback money. Give him $3 million a year, $5 million a year, whatever it is.
He's got to get more than that. I think
there's no number. Okay, so you can't really call him a quarterback, right?
No.
QB3. But there's no player that we've ever seen be used the way that Taysom Hill is used. So we don't have.
I think Taysom Hill's agent are going to use that to their benefit, though. They're probably going to ask for $6, $7, $8 million.
Okay, but if I'm the Saints, I'm going to say, hey, there's no other team in the league that can use it the way we did.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the way the Patriots use their receivers with Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, all those guys, Danny Amendola. We've seen them go other places, and they're not the same. Yeah, they have a certain appeal to their own management, and they got to know that.
Yeah, I think anyway. So I think if you can get Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater, keep them. And I understand this is me saying Drew Brees goes. It's hard to say, and I get that. But at the end of the day, he's old. We've seen the age. Yeah. We've seen it a couple years in a row now, where it's like, the end of the season, he just falls off a little bit. And I'm not saying he's the reason they lost their games. He's not. But he's fallen off just a little bit.
He's the reason they didn't win that playoff game.
This past year, or the past couple of years?
This past year.
Okay, see, I was more
the
just
2
talking
years before that was
years.
the refs.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I was really just talking past couple of years just in the sense that, like, he wasn't playing as well as maybe he was the rest of the season.
For sure. Yeah. There's definitely a drop-off there.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and my plan could fold over. He could retire.
I don't think he will.
There's a very good chance that he could retire.
I think if he was going to retire, he already would have.
He said some shady stuff at the Pro Bowl, though. They asked him about it. And, I mean, I guess he gave a cookie covered
I've heard an interview where he was like, "Oh, we're going to be good next year." He kind of misspoke and he kind of said "we" as in the Saints, and the interviewer caught him like, "Oh, are you going to be there?" And he was, he tried to go back on it. So I don't know one way or the other. It's going to be interesting. The only other interesting free agent guy that I think we both agree on here, Andrews Pete. Like,
they got
yeah, I think you have to get him. I think you have to re-sign him if you can. As far as guys outside of the Saints organization, you're going to have to go for players that maybe aren't going to ask for a lot of money. Emmanuel Sanders, I think, would be a really good number 2.
Yes,
that's a guy that I think we both agree on. Brandon Sheriff is an interesting name.
I think that's if they lose Andrews Pete too.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting name. But to keep an eye on for the Saints, because they are going to need offensive line help,
of course.
But he's gonna make some money.
He's going to be he's one of the top 5 free agents overall. I mean, he's the best at his position. I think it's like a 3-time Pro Bowler. Yeah. He's going to get paid. Absolutely. He's going to get his.
Absolutely. So as far as the draft, so what we're going to do for the draft for all these videos is we are going to mock basically the first 3 rounds and just give you their picks. As far as the rest of the basically the reason we're doing first 3 rounds is those are the impact players. Those are the players we think can come in right away and be an impact, day one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the Saints don't have a second round pick. They traded to the Dolphins last year. So they only have a first and a third, and we are doing no trades. So with that, we think in the first round they get C.J. Henderson.
It's a risk.
Yeah, it is a risk, but a really good cornerback, I think.
Yes.
And he played really, really well.
It's hard saying he's a risk because I think one of the main things that points to him being a risk is that he's a defensive back from Florida. And you can't knock a guy but every single one hasn't panned out.
I get it, but you can't grade the
exactly. No, not at all.
But you're right. There's been a lot of misses from Florida corners.
And the third round, we think they're going to go KJ Hill, wide receiver out of Ohio State. When he went to the Senior Bowl, he blew up. I mean, his draft stock, his ability to get separation in the slot is second to none. He's a guy who could go in the second round, but if he is there in the third round, the Saints are going to get him. He's going to complement well off of Michael Thomas being on the outside.
It's going to be a really good number 2, and I think that's what the Saints need. They really do need a number 2. I think in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, they can probably make some moves and get, running back, linemen, stuff like that to maybe fill out the back end of the roster. But I think KJ Hill is could come in right away and be that number 2 receiver.
Yes, he really could.
Out of Ohio State. And, we thought about giving them a wide receiver in the first round, especially if they were going to do that, go for broke, try and win a Super Bowl next year kind of
yeah, it just
mindset.
Depends on where their management thinks they are.
Yeah, and I think we both kind of gave them that, let's go for broke, basically. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we're at. But I think regardless of that, you're getting a really good player in the third round with KJ Hill. I really believe that.
It's too good of a roster to bust up.
Yeah.
Because even if they tried busting it up, they're not going to go straight to the bottom.
They're not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I absolutely agree.
It's too good of a team to just take it apart.
Honestly, I mean, we watched Teddy Bridgewater win 6 games. They can win a lot of football games with Teddy Bridgewater. They can win a lot of games with
They weren't pretty, though. That was one of the bigger things.
They weren't pretty at first, but, I mean, you got to think if you get him an entire year, an entire offseason of training and stuff, I think that could change, They what I'm saying is they have weapons. They're set on they're set at a lot of different positions. Yeah. They're not a perfect roster, but they're really, really good, and they have a really good play caller to
I just think comparing him to Drew Brees, it's just
of course, nobody's going to be good compared to Drew Brees.
It just depends on what kind of money Drew Brees is asking for. So
that's absolutely true. But all right, guys, that is it for us on our predictions and our estimate of what the Saints should do this offseason. Thank you so much for watching. Check back. There's going to be a lot more videos coming on the offseason overview, basically, that we're doing. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any thoughts on what you think they should do, and hit us up. Check us out on our podcast as well, Between the Pylons podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.